All right, Mike, check, check, check. Justin Hunt, it's all happening. Thank you guys for rocking with the channel. Thank you for supporting through the Cash App and through the link tree. I really appreciate it. Also, thank you to all the new members that are joining this platform here. We're having a great time. I'm looking at, yeah, you guys are experiencing the evolution. I'm definitely more active. I'm covering more things from the news on a regular basis, and I'm still going to do those breakdowns and deep dives that I'm probably most known for. But there's just so much going on in the world, and I'm having a great time talking about it with you all. Packed show today, packed show today. Donald Trump, former President Donald Trump, went and spoke to the NABJ. Now, if you don't know what the NABJ is, punch yourself in the face. Now, the NABJ is the National Association of Black Journalists. So it's the biggest governing body or the biggest union, not union, but it's the biggest organization that supports Black journalism, right? So Trump went to the NABJ conference in Chicago, and it went terribly. It went terribly. Now, I understand there's a segment of his base that it just doesn't matter what he says. But this is a guy who goes outside every day and says that he's done more for the Black community than anyone since Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln now. And so when he's encountered with Black journalists, this is what happens, right? Now, to be fair, there's a journalist from ABC News. She's there. And then there's also the Black journalist at Fox News, the Black lady. I can't think of her name right now. I'm so sorry for brain farting. No disrespect intended. So it was a mixed panel from a political affiliation standpoint. But let's take a look at this first clip. This is how this conversation with former President Donald Trump started.
People did not think it was appropriate for you to be here today. You have pushed false claims about some of your rivals, from Nikki Haley to former President Barack Obama, saying that they were not born in the United States, which is not true. You have told four...
That's always his go-to, by the way. Anyone that looks anything other than Family Guy, they ain't from here. Always his go-to.
Congresswomen of color who were American citizens to go back to where they came from. You have used words like animal and rabid to describe Black district attorneys. You've attacked Black journalists, calling them a loser, saying the questions that they ask are, quote, stupid and racist.
He's done that a bunch of times. Watch where this goes. Watch where this goes.
Had dinner with a white supremacist at your Mar-a-Lago resort. So
Kanye was there too. To be fair, Kanye was there too.
My question, sir, now that you are asking Black supporters to vote for you, why should Black voters trust you after you have used language like that?
I personally feel like that's a fair question. That is a question at the forefront of communities I'm a part of, my family, my fraternity brothers, businesses I'm partnered with, questions with just Black people I know. There is a segment of the Black population that looks at Trump and his policies as beneficial to the community, but the large swath of people are not only, skeptical of Trump, but also skeptical of the red team. Skeptical of the red team. The Black community is inherently conservative. We love Bibles, dollars, and guns. Based on how they advertise themselves, we should be on the red team all day of the week. But we're not because of the South. The South is Confederate. The South is the same. The South is on the same side it was on from the Civil War to right now, and everything between. The South has never moved, right? That's why you have so many Confederate schools throughout the South that are named after Confederate generals. That's why whenever someone takes down a Confederate statue, the South is like, "What you do that for?" And they want to add and put it back. That team has never changed. So that's the reason why the Black community doesn't rock with the red team. It's not deep. It's not some gotcha question. I don't care whether it's the 1800s, the 1900s, or the 2000s. The South is the same when it comes to Black people. Now, Black people aren't a monolith, and there's a lot of people who have differing opinions, but this is a great question to start with. Why, in front of all these Black journalists, should people trust Trump? Look at this answer.
Well, first of all, I don't think I've ever been asked a question in such a horrible manner, a first question. You don't even say, hello, how are you? Are you with ABC? Because I think they're a fake news network, a terrible network. And I think it's disgraceful that I came here in good spirit. I love the black population of this country. I've done so much for the black population of this country, including employment, including opportunity zones with Senator Tim Scott of South Carolina.
One of the worst senators in the nation. Tim Scott is absolutely horrible. Tim Scott had the opportunity zones, and Tim Scott had police reform with Cory Booker, and he sabotaged both. Now, what they passed is it's a bait and switch bill that creates opportunities under conditions that are very difficult to meet. But every time I hear Tim Scott, my dad still lives in South Carolina. I went to high school and college, half of high school and college in South Carolina. I go back to South Carolina all the time, and Tim Scott's the worst, man.
Which is one of the greatest programs ever for black workers and black entrepreneurs. Done so much, and and I say this, historically black colleges and universities were out of money. They were stone cold broke, and I saved them, and I gave them long-term financing, and nobody else was doing it. I think it's a very...
That's actually a point that college black HBCUs are kind of 50-50 on. Yeah, he did a lot. He definitely did exactly what he said. He put in long-term financing for black colleges, but that wasn't necessarily something that hadn't been done before, nor was it something that was exclusive to black colleges, right? So it was part of a bill that gave more money to other colleges. So from a percentage standpoint, it was still kind of the same. But at the same time, a lot of educators at HBCUs, administrations at HBCUs look at that as something that became defining for the Biden administration, because Biden ended up giving, Trump did $225 million, Biden ended up doing $16 billion, right? So that ended up being, it was sort of like the step before the leap, right? If you know what I mean. So he definitely did what he's saying, but it's not necessarily something that was unique to him, and nor was it something in comparison to Joe Biden. And in comparison to Joe Biden, it's a candle to the sun.
A rude introduction. I don't know exactly why you would do something like that. And let me go a step further. I was invited here, and I was told my opponent, whether it was Biden or Kamala, I was told my opponent was going to be here. It turned out my opponent isn't here. You invited me under false pretense. And then you said, you can't do it with Zoom. Well, where's Zoom? She's going to do it with Zoom, and she's not coming. And then you were half an hour late, just so we understand. I have too much respect for you to be late. They couldn't get their equipment working or something
Mr.
was
President,
wrong.
I would love...
He wanted to say color people time so bad. He wanted to say that. He wanted to say that. I mean, this is Trump just being Trump, in my opinion, right here. This part right here is Trump being Trump. He always got smoke for the media. he always has smoke for women who ask tough questions. So bare minimum, at least we get to see his consistency.
I think it's a very nasty question. Wow. I have answered the question.
Trust you with another
I have been the best president for the black population since Abraham Lincoln. That's my answer.
Better than President
Abraham Lincoln, though. Abraham Lincoln. This is what I mean. Like, even when Trump is at his most inflammatory, when he's at his most disrespectful, still highly hyperbolic in an entertaining way.
Johnson, who signed the Voting Rights Act.
For you to start off a question and answer period, especially when you're 35 minutes late because you couldn't get your equipment to work in such a hostile manner, I think it's a disgrace.
He's really looking at this like it's a ghetto production. He went to the NABJ and basically accused them of being low budget. Basically. It gets worse. All right. So in this one, they ask him what DEI, if Kamala Harris is a DEI hire. Is a DEI hire? Look at this answer.
We'll move on to other questions here. Some of your own supporters, including Republicans on Capitol Hill, have labeled Vice President Kamala Harris, who is the first Black and Asian American woman to serve as vice president and be on a major party ticket, as a DEI hire. Is that acceptable language to you? And will you tell those Republicans and those supporters to stop it?
How do
You know what's so funny about DEI is that when I was growing up, everything was affirmative action. If any Black person that was in any position of any authority in any industry anywhere, Black people were accused of being affirmative action hires. Well, now the Supreme Court got rid of affirmative action completely, and they still find a way to do it. So now it's DEI hires, right? So to me, whether there is legislation or a Supreme Court ruling on fairness for the Black community, it doesn't even matter if that's the case or not. They're still going to find a way to say you only got it because you're Black. I mean, it's just the nature of America.
How do you define DEI? Go ahead. How do you define?
Diversity, equity, and inclusion.
Okay, yeah, go ahead. Is that what your definition?
That is.
Give me a
literally the
definition then.
words.
Would you give me a definition?
DEI.
Give me a definition.
Sir, I'm asking you a question.
No,
a
you
very
have to
direct
define
question.
it. Define it for me if you.
I just defined it, sir. Do you believe that Vice President Kamala?
I mean, he is running on that. It's called diversity, equity, and inclusion. That's literally what it's called. How do you define DEI? Diversity, equity, and inclusion. Give me a definition.
Harris is only on the ticket because she is a Black woman.
Well, I can say no. I think it's maybe a little bit different. So, I've known her a long time indirectly, not directly, very much, and she was always of Indian heritage, and she was only promoting Indian heritage. I didn't know she was Black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn Black, and now she wants to be known as Black. So I don't know, is she Indian or is she Black?
She has always
But you know
identified
what?
as a Black woman.
I
She went to a
respect
historically
either
Black
one.
college.
I respect either one, but she obviously doesn't, because she was Indian all the way, and then all of a sudden she made a turn and she became a Black person.
Just to be clear, sir, do
And
you
I
believe
think-
A Black person. I'm sorry, man. I mean, that was going to make it around because Kamala's Blackness has been a conversation throughout her career. Now, we know she's not foundationally Black, right? She's not Black from America. She's Black through Jamaica, right? And her mom is Indian. Now, so if you've seen these conversations, we saw Little Pump, we saw Sway Lee. These guys are saying that she's not Black. There's all kinds of viral videos going around and saying that she's not Black right now. I'm not going to question her Blackness right as in this conversation in a presidential election, because I think people in Jamaica are Black. They're just not foundationally Black, right? She seems like she was culturally Black because she grew up in Oakland. She went to Howard. She's an AKA. I mean, if you take those metrics right there from a cultural standpoint, you know, she's at least half Black, right? People are going to take this quote from Trump, and you're going to see a lot of people agree with him on this. You're going to see a lot of people agree with him on this. Look at this one more time.
Do you believe that Vice President Kamala Harris is only on the ticket because she is a Black woman?
Well, I can say no. I think it's maybe a little bit different. So, I've known her a long time indirectly, not directly, very much, and she was always of Indian heritage, and she was only promoting Indian heritage. I didn't know she was Black until a number of years ago when she happened to turn Black, and now she wants to be known as Black. So I don't know, is she Indian or is she Black?
She has always
But you know
identified
what?
as a Black woman.
I
She went to a
respect either
historically Black
one.
college.
I respect either one, but she obviously doesn't, because she was Indian all the way, and then all of a sudden she made a turn and she became a Black person.
Just to be clear, sir, do
And
you
I-
A Black person. Trump is wild. This is a wild conversation. All right, here's another clip. Check this out. Now, this is where they asked him about Black jobs.
Divided along the lines of race, along the lines of gender. And there is this question of, in this moment where we are, why come here? What is your message today?
My message is to stop people from invading our country that are taking, frankly, a lot of problems with it. But one of the big problems, and a lot of the journalists in this room I know and I have great respect for, a lot of the journalists in this room are Black. I will tell you that coming from the border are millions and millions of people that happen to be taking Black jobs. You had the best.
what exactly is a Black job, sir?
A Black job is anybody that has a job. That's what it is. Anybody that has a job.
All right.
You know, I mean, he's sitting in front of a room full of Black journalists. I guess all these migrants are coming across the border to take Black journalism jobs. It's a little tone deaf on this one.
And
Mr.
they're
President,
taking the employment away from Black people. They're coming in, they're invading. It's an invasion of millions of people, probably 15, 16, 17 million people.
That number always goes up whenever he talks about that. Now, I do agree that we have a migrant issue in this country, especially when you look at communities in New York, Chicago, Black communities in New York, Chicago particularly. My family still, I have a lot of family that's still in Brooklyn, still in Coney Island, and they've told me about this. They've talked to me about, either, construction jobs they're working on or labor jobs they're working on. And then there's these new migrants coming in, taking jobs, taking hours away from them. You start looking at a lot of the benefits that the migrants have been receiving. It affects the Black community incredibly it does. There were stories in earlier this year, maybe late last year, talking about how they would fly migrants to Chicago or New York at such a high rate that they would close down certain schools in certain neighborhoods for shelter and then force the students in those communities to take Zoom classes, right? There is a real issue. I'm not running away from that real issue. He just did a terrible job talking about Black jobs. He did a terrible job talking about that. You can hear the gasps in the audience. You can hear this. It gets worse. Check this out.
We can move on now to.
We're not going to prosecute him.
So Trump is talking about one of the court cases he won.
I won the case, and it got very little publicity. I didn't notice ABC doing any publicity on it, George.
We covered you extensively, sir. I'd love to move over on to
I
different
didn't
topics.
notice you do any publicity on it at all. I won the case, the biggest case. This is an attack on a political opponent. I have another one where
Sir,
I have
if you
a
don't mind, I'd
hostile
love to-
judge.
We have you for a limited time, sir. I'd love to move on to different
No,
topics.
excuse
if
you,
we
you're the
can.
one that held me up for 35 minutes, just so you understand.
If we can move on.
Look at this. I mean, this is Trump. Trump is being Trump. One way they can spin this is that he is consistent. No matter who he's talking to, Trump is consistent. Now, he's wildly disrespectful. I think he personally said a lot of disrespectful things to Black people during this talk. I think he's very disrespectful to this lady right here, this journalist here. But at the same time, she's clearly asking tougher questions than the lady from Fox News, for example, right? That's what I mean when I said this is a pretty balanced panel. And you can see how Trump is handling this. But this is a room full of Black journalists. This is literally a room full of Black journalists. Like these messages are going to get around. Black Twitter's already all over this. I don't care if Amber Rose was at your convention. I don't care what Candace Owens is saying. Black women drive the Democratic Party. It's just true. Like the Black women are the most consistent voting bloc because they have an innate understanding of the consequences of the policies that have been implemented on our communities better than any of us. Half of our men are targeted, we're all in prison, and it's the women holding it down. And when it comes to elections, you can't, the way he's talking to this right here, oh, this is not a good look. This is not a good look. All right, so Kamala Harris released a statement already. She got a statement out here. This is what I mean. They're already on top of it. The hostility Donald Trump showed on stage today is the same hostility he has shown throughout his life, throughout his term in office, and throughout his campaign for president as he seeks to regain power and inflict his harmful Project 2025 agenda on the American people. Trump lobbed personal attacks and insults at Black journalists the same way he did throughout his presidency, while he failed Black families and left the entire country digging out of the ditch he left us in. Donald Trump has already proven he cannot unite America, so he attempts to divide us. Today's tirade is simply a taste of the chaos and division that has been a hallmark of Trump's MAGA rallies this entire campaign. It's also exactly what the American people will see from across the debate stage as Vice President Harris offers a vision of opportunity and freedom for all Americans. All Donald Trump needs to do is stop playing games and actually show up to the debate on September 10th. I mean, Trump basically accused Kamala of being a no-show, or that this venue of being biased against him by not forcing her to speak in front of the NABJ as well. But that's a strong statement, and this is how this is going to resonate. I mean, you look at the swing states. You got Virginia, you got Georgia, you got Nevada, you got Arizona, you got Pennsylvania, you got Michigan, you got Wisconsin, right? Look at these swing states. The Black community is going to have a huge impact. Turnout is going to be huge, and there's already been a lot of people that are critical of Joe Biden, but also of Kamala Harris, right? I mean, look at what happened yesterday with Kamala Harris. This is Megan Thee Stallion. years.
Now, no hot ladies in the crowd love their body. Real hot girls.
Okay. Yeah.
And if you want to keep loving your body, you know it's called for. No, little sugar baby. Little sugar baby. Yeah. Hey, hey. Yeah.
Now, I like the intro. I think the intro is on brand for her, but if you look at these quotes, if you look at the quotes, this is going both ways, right? You know, if you look at these quotes, it's like, you know, here's one right here. Oh, ish. Oh, this was dead ass. I thought this was a joke. Here's another one. Literally imagine telling anyone 2 weeks ago that this is happening, right? Here's another one. She was used to push a vaccine agenda, but now it's all about bodily autonomy. Check this one out. This is so fucking tone deaf. LOL. Check this one out. I'm a hottie for Harris. Boom, it's landing with some people. Check this one out. Trying to pander to the Black community by using hypersexualized Black women talking about her body being curvy. We Black people want to know how we going to get out of this recession. Rent is $1,400 for a one-bedroom apartment. A one-bedroom? Come to LA. Come to LA. Cost $1,800 plus to stock your fridge. Be effing serious, right? So this is spitting in a very non-genuine way. Now, there's a lot of people who identify with it. I agree with how she led into this conversation. I think that's an effective way to connect with women. And women love Megan Thee Stallion. They love Megan Thee Stallion. But there is a part of this that potentially has people questioning. Like Megan Thee Stallion, for example, has a big population of people who do not believe that she was actually shot by Tory Lanez. Like we covered that in this channel. You can look at this stuff. It's clearly that he did it. I mean, he had a case that he tried to appeal the case the other day, didn't have any new information to show the judge. So he's gonna have to stay in jail. But there's a huge contingent of people, particularly Black men, who really think that she made that story up, right? So you've got her on stage, you know, twerking in a nice outfit. I like the outfit. Twerking for Harris, hotties for Harris, right? But there are people who think she is a Black woman who put an innocent Black man in jail. I don't believe that, but there are people who think that. And Kamala Harris has a reputation for that. She has a reputation for putting innocent Black people in jail. I actually know that is overstated. Like that was a very effective campaign smear on her record as DA in California. But those two narratives are pretty close. So while hopefully this helps with women, that other comparison kind of works against her, right? Check this next one out with Kamala Harris. Here she is speaking. Here she is speaking, right? Listen to her voice.
And you all helped us win in 2020, and we're going to do it again in 2024.
2024. Look at this. Check this out.
And you all helped us win in 2020, and we're going to do it again in 2024. Let's
Let's do it one more time. One more time. I like this.
And you all helped us win in 2020, and we're going to do it again in 2024.
2024. That woman is from Oakland. She is from Oakland. You know, she went to Howard, okay? DC don't sound like that. 2024, right? I actually understand how politics works, and there is a level of pandering that just comes with being a successful politician. Now, how much that comes across as pandering lets you know where the great politicians are, but you have to feel relatable and identifiable to the people who are voting for you. You got to connect with them. But that right there, that's pretty extreme. That's what he says, you know, on the tweet. It's pretty weird to change your accent on the fly depending on which audience you're speaking to. I don't know. Drake been doing it. There's no accent you can sell me. Point is, Kamala had a lot of energy. She mobilized tens of thousands of white dudes for Harris on a Zoom call. She broke the Zoom record with 200,000 people on at one time for white women for Harris. They raised $10 million, something ridiculous, in an hour on this call. She has a lot of momentum. Authenticity is going to be something that is crucial again, because in these swing states, you need to make sure that people on the fence are going to come out for you. And if you're trying to win Georgia, you got to make sure that, you know, Black people really come out for you. If you're in Pennsylvania, it's the same thing. I mean, the cities in this nation, that's where the Black people are, right? So People even went as far as comparing the Megan Thee Stallion to the Boondocks when Thug Nipsey was riding for Obama.
Dick riding for tomorrow, dick riding for today, dick riding for the straight, dick riding for the gay, dick riding for America, dick riding for rock. It's okay to ride that dick just as long as it's Barack's and now.
Boondocks was so ahead of its time, but those are the comparisons that Megan Thee Stallion performance is getting. Right now, this is internet fodder, but authenticity is key. She has a ton of momentum. Authenticity is key. Regardless of the fact that I disagree with, I loathe everything that Trump did on that stage. I'm very used to Trump doing those things. And I actually think that's pretty authentic for him. I don't think this election is going to be as close as the previous 2 elections were, to be straight up with you. I think this is going to go Kamala's way. But authenticity is crucial for her. It's absolutely crucial for her. Now, while Kamala had Megan Thee Stallion and a country accent, Trump had Hulk Hogan taking off his shirt.
Last week, when they took a shot at my hero, and they tried to kill the next president of the United States. Enough was enough. And I said, let Trumpomania run wild, brother. Let Trumpomania.
Yeah, Hulk Hogan's on brand. At least he's on brand. But they also had Amber Rose. Okay. Now, I'm hearing a rumor that she's potentially allegedly, reportedly part of, under the scope for selling fraud crypto securities. I don't know what it is, but I do know there's a pattern of people running to Trump whenever they have legal problems, right? So whatever Amber Rose is talking about, I really don't care, right? I think that people understand that if Trump likes you, he's going to help you out. I feel like she's probably in trouble, right? You go do this 8 years after Kanye did it, that's crazy. And the reason why, but more than anything else, and I think this is the most important thing, right? I'm in California. I'm actually pretty okay. I'm pretty okay, right? Regardless of what I do, California is going blue. I don't have a personal responsibility. I have an intrinsic interest, and I'm going to show my support on a state level, on a city level, in California in general. But regardless of who I vote for president, California is going to go blue, right? So these conversations are more for people who live in swing states. These conversations are more for people who live places where people are still kind of split. And the big tipping point for me when it comes to Trump is I don't trust anybody around Trump. Regardless of how entertaining that dude is, I don't trust anybody around him. All he did was tax breaks. He did tax breaks for the wealthy people, right? Which is one of the reasons why the country went into a recession, right? Then you put COVID on top of that. The first thing he did with COVID was give bailouts to all the companies that needed it, and then gave everybody $600, and everybody's running around like that was some real money, right? But he appointed all the Supreme Court people who are making all the rulings that I completely disagree with, completely bastardizing the intent of many laws in the Constitution, many laws that have been passed, and many previous rulings by the Supreme Court. And they want to do it again, right? The biggest thing coming from his camp is Project 2025. Now, Trump has been doing a good job of distancing himself from this, but this is what their plan is, right? First thing they want to do is they want to concentrate power in the presidency, right? Trump's allies believe that his first term failed because he couldn't get enough loyal appointees in place and because the deep state bureaucracy sabotaged him. So a main recurring theme of Project 2025 is how to bend the executive branch to a conservative president's will. Eliminate the Department of Education, which is crazy. He wants to move to this voucher system, which is giving a tax break to wealthy people. That's what this is. They want to use public dollars to fund private education, right? And they want to give vouchers to people who can't afford to go to these private schools. But a lot of these vouchers, and we've seen this in the numbers that have happened, that have been coming out, and the reports that have been coming out, where in those counties and those cities in the South where this has been implemented. If tuition to a private school is $12,000 and they give you a $5,000 voucher, that's a $7,000 gap. What poor family can afford that? They're essentially defunding public schools, right? They want energy and environment. They want to deprioritize fighting climate change. Healthcare, they want to majorly cut and overhaul Medicaid, which they've been trying to get rid of Obamacare in the first place. It works well for me. I understand the challenges in the South, but they want to expand that nationwide. Immigration, they want to deny loan access to students. They want to revoke the FDA. They want to revoke the abortion pill, right? They want to prosecute people who send abortion pills through the mail. They want to crack down on abortion tourism, which is crazy name in itself. They want to stop ending subsidies for stem cell or fetal cell research. They want to make porn illegal. They want to imprison people who run porn sites. This is an extreme agenda that looks like the Handmaid's Tale. And I don't care whoever's running against whatever looks like the Handmaid's Tale, I am with. Okay. So we are Team Harris over here. If it means Project 2025 will never go into effect because I don't trust any of these Confederates that are hanging around Trump that have been driving his administration. Those are my thoughts on this. Let me know what you guys think. I just had to run through all this stuff that's been happening politically in the past couple of days because this is wild, wild, wild in every fashion. I think Kamala has an authenticity gap. I think that, there is a risk for crucial votes in swing states to find her as inauthentic. Every time I see that country accent, oh my gosh, it's so crazy. She's better off with a black accent than a country accent. Obama had his black accent down. Obama knew how to do that. She went country on that one. That was crazy. But regardless, I don't trust Donald Trump. I don't trust Trump at all. And I think that Trump is always great at doing what's best for Trump in the end, and and what's best for him, his businesses, and his family, in that order, truthfully. So this Project 2025 is extreme enough to me to where we Ridin for Kamala Harris. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section on this one. It's all happening.
Justin Hunte is here, it's all happening. Justin Hunte is here, it's all happening. The mathematical breakdown of this mighty game of rap we in. It's boom bapping. Systematical culture views that's radical, it's all happening. Shaking hands and dabbing them. Life through the lens of hip hop, from trip hop to yes, y'all, you don't stop, you don't stop. Justin Hunte is here, it's all happening. It's all happening, yes, it's all happening. Justin Hunte is here, it's all happening. It's all happening, yes, it's all happening.